Forms of energy. The various forms of energies are heat, chemical energy, electrical energy, nuclear energy. Heat energy, a block of mass m sliding onto rough horizontal surface with speed v0 comes to a half over a distance x0. The work done by the force of kinetic friction of F over x0 is a Fx0. By the work energy theorem, mv square by 2 is equal to Lx0. If we confine our scope to mechanics, we would say that the kinetic energy of the block is lost due to the frictional force. On examination of the block and the table, we would detect a slight increases in their temperatures. The work done by the friction is not lost but is transferred as a heat energy. Chemical energy. It is the energy liberated during the certain chemical reactions. When coal or oil burns, a stable chemical compound has less energy than the separated parts. A chemical reaction is basically a rearrangement of atoms. If the total energy of the reactants is more than the products of the reactions, heat is released and the reaction is said to be an exothermic reaction. The reverse is true, heat is absorbed and the reaction is endothermic. Chemical energy is associated with the forces that gives rise to stability of substance. Forces bind atoms into molecules into polymeric chains, etc. Chemical energy arises from the combustion of oil, cooking gas, wood and petroleum is desirable, indispensable to our daily existence. Electrical energy. It is the energy given out by a cell or a battery and is associated with the potential energy of electric charges. An urban Indian household consumes about 200 joule of energy per second on an average. Nuclear energy. The energy released during nuclear reaction fusion is called nuclear energy. On the other hand, the explain of the life nourishing energy output of the sun is also based on the above equation. In this case, effectively, four light hydrogen molecule nuclei fuse to form the helium nucleus whose mass is less than the sum of the masses of the reactants. This mass difference called the mass defect delta M is the source of energy delta mc square. Then in a fusion, a heavy nucleus like uranium 23592 is split into a neutron into lighter nuclei. Once again, the final mass is less than the initial mass and the mass difference translated into energy which can be trapped to provide the electrical energy as the nuclear power plants control nuclear fusion or can be uncontrolled nuclear fission. Slightly, the energy delta E released in a chemical reaction can also be related to the mass defect delta M is equal to delta E by C square, where for a chemical reaction this mass defect is much smaller than other a nuclear reaction.